I haven't had a chance to welcome you to the course. My name is Scotty Gex. I'm the instructor for grades, GR 101, Introduction to Grade. I'm not going to talk too much about the course, but I'm going to talk about a couple of things that are in the course that are important. One of them is your discussions, and the other, and these relate, is your course format. So I I have this up on another screen, so let's just take a look. As you can see, this is really an announcement. I actually put it up, but I'm going to make a video of it and talk about it a little bit as we go through it, instead of just having you reading it. And I'll try to anticipate questions that you might have, see if I can get a good answer for you. So the tailgate is a discussion, and it's going to have a subject matter. I think I'm not sure what the first one is. The introduction to grades. It's about the course format and the tailgate, as it says here. Now, I took some pieces out of other tailgates to show you the components of a tailgate. One of the first things you'll see in a tailgate is this part right here. This will be the title of the tailgate, and many of them will have our little tailgate logo up here. But here's the main part of it. This is the participation overview. I will require 3 posts from each of you, and I think there's 3 of you, from each of you in each tailgate. I need an initial post, and this needs to be submitted by Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. East. That's wrong. It's Central Standard Time. There's 2, 3 instructors here that live in different parts of the country. I go on Central Standard Time, so 11:59 Central Time. That's when I want your first post to be in. The next post, I call it the first reply to another student, or just simply a reply post. Let me get my. I want you to enhance the conversation with at least 2 replies to classmates, the first and the second one. In other words, there will be prompts, and we'll get into some sample prompts here. The prompt is like there's going to be a subject, and then we'll have background information about that subject, and then there'll be prompts that will ask you things about the subject matter. So moving on, let's make sure we got that. We'll have three posts in each tailgate. Now, you'll see this again, but this is real important when you are uh, and it'll make more sense once you start your tailgates. When you get to in your tailgate and you start to put up your initial post, I want you to label it initial post. Then you'll respond to the prompts. So when we get down a little further, I'll show you some prompts. Now, this here is some grading insights. Now, you're not going to see this in every post, but I want to go through it uh, in this case, and let me just read it. Your contribution will be evaluated based on the depth of engagement adherent to discussion prompts, timeliness, and the quality of interaction with peers. I would like for you to strive for posts that are reflective, analytical, and contribute significantly to the uh, discussion. Now, if you maybe we all have a different definition, personal to analytical, to reflective, uh, quality, things like that. But look them up and see what the dictionary says about them. Now, for comprehensive details on grading criteria, if you go to the tailgate, which you can find on the home page, there's a link that says the tailgate, and it'll have a grading guide. And also, it'll have a written assignment grading rubric, and that's the way we grade essays. These resources are conveniently linked on the home page of our course platform for your access. And then we kind of motivate ourselves and tell us to, like, let's embark on another week of enriching discussions. Your insights and interactions are what make our tailgate discussions vibrant and insightful. And then I'm wishing you a happy posting. Now then, I'm taking titles or subjects out of an existing tailgate. Part of it this is just a welcome to this week's tailgate. That's the cue that we're getting ready to begin. And this is a repetition of these due dates here. It's called Participation OGO, and then overview, and there's your deadline for it. The first reply to another student needed in by 11:59 p.m. That's Central Standard Time, and this second reply complete by Sunday at 11:59 Central Standard Time. And here's a little tip here. Early engagement is recommended to stimulate ongoing dialogue. Despite this, all posts should adhere to high standards of clarity, correctness, and relevance. Even though you have a deadline, I want you to take time enough to make these things quality. Each post will have a prompt. Now, prompt is, and let me get into it here in just a minute. Prompt is something to ask you to talk about your post. So your initial post in this case, this is just a sample tailgate. Actually, it comes from your, I think, week 1 tailgate. So the initial post, and I put this in, is to introduce yourself. Share the following details: your name, where you're from, any personal professional experiences you've had with site preparation or heavy equipment, what motivated you to enroll in the program. Okay, let's spend a minute on this. So I'm just telling you right here for your first post, I want you to introduce yourself, and this is what I want you to tell us. It says in your initial post, share the following details. I would like to know your name, where you're from. I would like for you to tell us about any personal or professional experience you've had with site preparation or heavy equipment. And I would really like to know what motivated you to enroll in this program. Okay, now we're going to go over it again. This is a first, not again, we're going to keep going over this initial post. We talked about that initial post. This is your prompt, and this is what I want you to say about your prompt. Now when we get to the first reply to another student, I want you just to reflect on site preparation. And here's what I want you to think about. If you have experience with site preparations, I want to share a brief story or example of a project you've worked on. What was one that was interesting? Like such as a water treatment plant. Those are usually pretty large operations. Here's another one that you will need to talk about. If you're new to this field, share what it say you don't have any experience with site prep. So if you're new to the field, share what interests you most about learning. What interests you most about learning to utilize heavy equipment for site preparations? Or, just talk about what is it about this that you think you might like, what interests you. Then you'll have another response, a final response, a second reply to another student. And just as a reminder, go back up here, second reply, Sunday, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, that's your second reply. Okay, and for this particular tailgate, and all tailgates, you'll have three uh, posts or responses: your initial, your first, and your second reply to another. First reply to another student, second reply to another. Then you're going to run across what we call background, or in this case, I put down discussion background. And this part, you're usually going to find information relating to the responses above, information about the subject matter. You need to use this information that's in your background, also information that you have covered in the course, outside sources. If you have a book or something about site preparation, sure, use anything in there that you would like to talk about these responses. And of course, your own experience to provide meaningful posts. This is what I look for: relevance, contribution to the learning community. Think about that. I want them to be, I want all your posts to have a little depth to them, to have a little weight, to be meaningful, and to be thorough. Adherence to prompts. Don't forget to read your prompts carefully, and these little sub prompts, what I call them. In other words, for your second reply, engage with your classmates. And here's how I want you to engage. Ask a question about their experience or goals. Look for connections between their experiences and goals and your own. And then I want you to talk about that. And let's move on a little bit. This you will find in your syllabus for each course. The course format is the same for all of our courses. We're competency based here. Uh, Let me just read it. And if you have questions about a lot of this stuff I'm doing, I need you to call me. So this is the way I do my courses. The course follows a modular format, beginning with Module 1, which I call Week 1, and ending with the completion of Module 10, which I call Week 10. Each module spans 1 week and includes an overview, some instructional resources like reading material assignments and weekly discussions like we're talking about now. Discussion activity refers to as the tailgate. Tailgates have specific requirements that you must understand prior to participating, and we just went over that. And so you need to get in touch with me if you don't understand the format of the course and what's going to be in each tailgate and what you need to do about what's going to be in each tailgate. Okay. And you can find out more information by going to the homepage. Click on the link to the tailgate link. It's on the whole page. The course is competency based, and that means that on all of the assignments you don't have to do them in order. You can go from one to the other. But I will tell you this, that in this module, in this course, it's scaffold, and that means the information that you'll be asked to learn in level 2 will be based on the information. Module 2 will be based on the information that you learned in module 1. Now, we're just letting you do these as you will, but my advice is just do them in sequence. Get your module 1 done, get your module 2 done, because what's in module 1 will help you with module 2 and so on. The instructional, if you look down here, is competency-based, allowing you to progress at your own pace. However, the instructional content is scaffolded. So we just got through talking about, meaning each week's material builds upon the previous week. Therefore, it's highly recommended that you complete the modules in sequential order, week 1, week 2, etc. We have 2 requirements, and these are important, and if you don't understand this, you need to get in touch with me. Number 1, each tailgate or discussion must be completed during the week it is available. So, in other words, we just finished week 1, and week one tailgate was published, so you should be through with it as by the time you're watching this video in this case. Posting now continuing, posting in a different week's tailgate, early or late, will result in 0 credit. Participated in week 6, this is an example, participating in week 6 tailgates during week 9 is not allowed. Posting in week 4's tailgate while still in week 2 is also not accepted. The course must be completed by the final deadline of September 15. Okay, so that's the course format. This up in here, I was going through a tailgate, which I really want to go again. This is the suspense dates. This is when you have to have your initial post, reply post, first reply to another student, and second reply completed and submitted no later than 11:59 on Sunday, Central Standard Time. And these are little hints right here on what it takes to make a good flow. And this is just a repeat of this up here, my copy and paste. Let me go again through this part. This will be your post, and this is your prompt. In your initial post, I want you to do this. I want you to introduce yourself. I also want you to share the following details. I want you to give us your name and where you're from. I would like to have any personal or professional experience you've had with site preparation or heavy equipment. Let us know about it. What motivated you to enroll? Okay, that would be your initial post. When you get that done, you're ready to go on to your first reply to another student. But let me reiterate, when there'll be a place to post this. There'll be a place to submit your post within the discussion or tailgate, as we call it. And I want you to label it initial post, okay? Just following that, you will start responding to these prompts. In this case, share the following. Tell us your name, please, any personal professional experience. Okay, all of that will come under your initial post, and I need to know that what you're writing is your initial post. I can't tell you how important that is. If the post that you're writing is not labeled, you may have 300 words up there just all written together, and somewhere in those 300 words in your mind is an initial post, is a first reply to another student, is a second reply to another student. That's the way you thought about it. Let me tell you something. I can't go through all of that 300 words and determine, are you responding to my prompts from the initial post, like your name, the personal professional experience? Are you doing that? So you need to label your post and your replies as like initial post, and then write all about the response to what I ask you to, these prompts in here. Let me see what again. This is a prompt right here. Introduce yourself. This is details about that prompt in your initial post. All of this information would go beside your initial post up here. And I'm going over this and over this because what I'm about to tell you is that if you don't label your post, I'm not going to grade it. I don't have time to determine if you are posting relevant to the prompts or not. So make sure you label all of your initial post. Make sure you label it. Your first reply to another student, I want you to label it first reply to another student, and so on. Now, again, there'll be some background information, or there'll be a link to an article, for your background information. It may come from outside of the course, but it'll relate to the subject. The I think the week 2 has one on earth moving equipment in site preparation, so it'll be more relevant. Okay, here's another important thing. Went through the format. Be sure, if you don't understand either the information in the format or how I want your tailgates structured, all you got to do is give me a call. And you can find my contact information. Go to the home page, and it'll say there's 2 links about me, who I am, where I came from, what my experience is, and there's also a contact number to get in touch with me, an email also to get in touch with me, and you can find all of that information within the syllabus. So it's 405 684 6828. I prefer contact by phone because sometimes we can solve it right then and there. You're looking at your screen and I'm looking at your screen, and we can get your issue resolved right there. Uh, uh, I hope you enjoy this course. We're going to learn a lot about grades and stakes, elevations, and when we get through this, we want to be able to stake out a job site. That's our goal. Okay, that's it.